Alright, this is my Smith & Wesson Model 85 high polished stainless steel, and this one is a bobbed hammer. So as you can see, it doesn't have a spur that comes out so that you could cock it into single action. So again, it's called a bobbed hammer, and I believe this was done at the factory. Let me get a little closer for you, because it's some really nice polished hammer. It does have a little spur, sticking out a little bit. I know the newer ones are more recessed to the frame, but it's in super nice condition for being to the mid to late 90s. I think around 97, 99, I believe. As you can see, I blackened the serial number out. I guess you really have to do that these days. Too many thugs out there copying your serial numbers, including your licenses and your social security numbers, right? So you open it up just like that. It is unloaded. It is a 5-shot 38 special. Got a little orange paint on the front ramp sight. All in all, it's a nice compact revolver. Sort of compact. Not like my Charter arms. My Charter arms are smaller than this. It does have sort of like a Packmeyer grip on it. I'm not sure if they're Packmeyers. I don't see a name. Oh yeah, they are Packmeyers. The only thing is, it doesn't seem like they're the right fit for this particular pistol. As you can see, the frame part right here showing with a hole. So this Packmeyer grip should have went up a little bit more. I think the original ones for this particular Model 85, they didn't have like a turn down here like this. It kind of went up a little bit. So, but they work. Other than that, I mean, it's a nice feel in your hand. But, you could use it as a double action only, or you could use it as a single action, but it's a little hard. So you have to cock it back a little bit, bring your thumb, hold it, and then use it as a single action like that. As you can see, it has a safety lever, so it doesn't have the pin fire hammer, which I like better. So if you want to, say if you had some ammunition there, I would not recommend, well, first of all, you can't open it, but you have to let it down slow, really slow, like that. So that's a safety too, that you have to understand if it's loaded. So, you don't want to use a single action unless, you're going to empty the chamber so you don't have any accidents. But what I want to do today, or I'm not going to do it today, I want to show you, I'm actually going to change this bob hammer out into a regular spur hammer. And I purchased one online. It is stainless steel, polished hammer that I bought. I think it was like 20 bucks or so. That I'm going to change out, and I'm also going to keep this bob hammer in case I want to change it back, or if I ever decide to sell this pistol, I will just give that to the next buyer as an option, that they could either keep the spur hammer on or change it to the bob. I like the bob, but I actually like more of the spur hammer because I like using single action and double action. I get more control, of course, on a single action than I do a double, but for carrying purposes, so this doesn't get snagged on your clothes, it's smooth. But with a spur, of course, it's going to get snagged. But if I carry it in a holster as a spur hammer, it would be fine. So what I want to show you first, it's real easy to take off. So what you do is you take your grips off. Now you might have a set of wood grips on here, but it's just one screw. And it also depends on your model and what you have as far as grips go. So you have the one screw, and then these come off just like that. Okay. So now what you want to do, I don't have the pin with me, so I'm sorry. There's a little hole here. Well, let me cock it back first. What you do is, again, make sure it's unloaded. Okay, double, triple, quadruple check it. And you want to bring your hammer back Okay, as you're doing is a single action. So you cock it back to single action. And then there's a hole right there, see it? See if I could get a little, there you go. See at the end of that spring? Right there. See that hole right there? Right there is you put a little pin. Sometimes they sell the pins with the new springs. If not, take a little, I don't know, 4-penny nail or something, cut a little piece and stick it in there and let it come up a little bit so that it, you know, like when you release this hammer, it'll hold that tension on that spring. So again, there's that little hole for that pin, and they're pretty much all like this. Oh, this camera keeps shaking. So just take that little 4-penny nail or some type of strong piece of metal that's, you know, that will go in that hole, so it'll hold that, so that when you do release this hammer, that this spring is still going to be up here, so it's going to hold that rod and that spring from going back up in there and release the tension. So, and then what you do is you just take off these 3 screws. Take the one there, and one over here, and she'll just pop right off. So I do have it sort of loose right now. And what you want to do is, when you take off the screws, make sure you place them so that they'll go back in the same hole, so you don't mismatch the screws. Okay. So there's number 2. So there's, you know, the outer one and then the middle one. And again, you don't want to, just don't want to use the different screws for the different holes, you know. So, and then there's the other screw there. So I placed them so I know that's going on the outside, the middle, and the left side. So what you could do first, if you like, you could take off your cylinder. Okay. So after you take off 3 of these screws, just pull the cylinder out like this. Okay. So you have your cylinder. Now remember, there's a pin and a spring right here. See it? So don't lose that. That goes right in that hole. So make sure you have that back in there when you slide it back up into the frame here. Okay. So you can either take it out and put it away, or just carefully leave it in there and then carefully set it down. So what I do then is just take a screwdriver and I just lift the plate up just a little bit like that, and she'll come off. So see how this comes off? This comes off just like that. So there's your plate. Okay, so there you go. There's your inside of your Model 85, and this is what I want to replace right here. So like I said, I didn't have the pin for the spring, so this spring would have been out by now, and then I would have just lifted this off slowly. The hammer would have just lifted right off. And make sure you place it exactly the way it is here. Okay, so if you want to take a picture of it before you pull the hammer off, that would be the best way to do it, so that you know where all this goes on. It's not that hard at all. It takes 1 minute to do it. And let me just pull this back. Oh, I can't because I don't have the cylinder in it. That's right, it's a safety. Just make sure you put everything, like this little lever here, safety lever and everything. Make sure everything goes back the same way. Like I said, it's not that difficult. So then when you put your new one back in, you just put your plate back on, make sure it's on there. Okay. There we go. Now why am I doing this? On it? Can't get it up in there. There we go. Like that, and snap it in. See how I heard that snap? That is like a little thing underneath here that goes a little bit under the frame. And then snap it in, make sure it's on there nice and tight. Put all 3 of your screws back in. You know, and then you also put your new spring in if you needed to replace that beforehand, after you put the plate on. Then put your grips on. Well, actually, you put this on, but make sure that this is, you know, prior back in there. You might have to play with this a little bit to get this in. Sometimes it's a pain in the ass. There you go. Okay. Just like that. I also put the cylinder back into the frame before I put the screws on. So there you go. Put the screws on, and then your grips. Then you got it. And then don't I have a new hammer spur on my new hammer? So, but I'm getting that soon in the mail, probably within a week, and I'll just take a video of it afterwards, or even a video during it again, and showing you exactly how to do it. All right. Oh, and these are these jacketed hollow points is what I use on the 38 special on this revolver. So, okay. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care.